Hi, today I'm talking with Kent Gladish, Vice President of the Technology and Manufacturing Association here in Schaumburg, Illinois. And I've known Kent a long time, approaching 20 years. The Technology and Manufacturing Association is a formidable organization approaching almost 100 years in existence. Glad you're here, Kent. And would you give our listeners an overview as to just what the Technology and Manufacturing Association is?
Thank you, Paul. Always good to have a virtual conversation with you. TMA exists in Northeast Illinois as a regional manufacturing association. We're very, very unique around the country. There's very few organizations like us with 17 full-time employees and regional in scope. And regional, what I mean by that is we're kind of we're a horizontal association. So we're all about manufacturing in Northeast Illinois. There's all sorts of vertical manufacturing organizations that focus on everything from stamping to machining to mold making. So we're everything about making it here, and got 1,000 TMA members, about 700 manufacturers, and 300 of those affiliate members who have services that our members can use.
The cross section of member skills, services, and competencies really range. I know that in metal stamping and machining are among the main identities. What are some of the skills and crafts and services that your members provide to other manufacturers?
Are you referring to the whole of the finishing world and the machinery builders? And
yes.
We've got a couple of food manufacturers, because we've found that other than our education curriculum, everything we do helps all manufacturers, because our education tends to be in the metal forming, metal bending, metal cutting range. So if you're a food manufacturer, that doesn't apply, but otherwise, the other entities, sheet metal fabrication, I think we kind of mentioned. And the other thing is that metalworking is blurred. A lot of stampers have bought some laser, water jet, bought some machining centers. And so a stamper is not necessarily a stamper any longer. And recently, one of our more prominent stampers told me, Kent, I'm starting to become not a stamper, but, and I can't recall what he wanted to call himself, but he was after, since 1941, when they were founded, he's like, I'm done with the word stamping. Not that that's a bad thing, it's that he's morphed into more.
That's a world economy, a global economy, and so many things are changing. And in line with things that are changing, the challenges that small manufacturing business owners and medium-sized owners are facing seem to be increasing. There's no pause in challenges for manufacturing ownership. What are some of the things that you do to support business owners?
Just opened up Pandora's box. I've become the Craigslist at TMA. When a member needs help with something, they come to me. And I actually collected a few of my favorite stories that I'd like to share to answer that question. One of my favorite ones is when a prominent member came to me and said, Kent, I'm a balding white Christian male just like you. My daughter is the heir apparent to the company, and she has seen my board of directors, who are a bunch of balding white Christian males. I need some diversity on my board. Can you help me with that? And what we did is we crafted an email that said, we're looking for diversity. We did not say female or male, or we didn't address that specifically. We just said diversity, and we blasted that out to the membership. I got 15 responses, 12 were men, 3 were women. I think he actually has hired 2 of those women to be on his board of directors.
Wow.
There's a request that a member had that the association was able to help him out with. Most recently, I toured a induction heat treating company named Induction Heat Treating up in Crystal Lake. And they were very proud to tell me of their good to great, good to great's not the right word, the great something of business that they were illustrating on a big board. They were very, very, very proud of this new program of showing all employees everything that's going on.
Mhm.
And I gently said, you know, Tasty Catering's a TMA member, and we hosted a TMA event at Tasty Catering that talked about this program. And the two owners looked at each other and said, that's where we learned of it, was from the TMA event. So we actually helped them with their business system that they're running. They had forgotten where they learned of it because it was 7 years ago.
Good. You, in recent years and across the span of almost 100, have been prominent in training apprentices to meet the ever-present concerns about technical skills personnel in manufacturing. Could you give us a couple of perspective comments on what you do in apprentice training?
Yeah, COVID was rather interesting, or let me back up again. So after the recession in 08, 09, we were training 0 apprentices. We went down to nobody was training. And now we've had a couple of years of 140 in a row. They tend to be mostly, if I'm not mistaken, CNC is the majority, then tool and die, and the minority is mold making, but 140 of those folks. And as a COVID side note, we were not allowed to have graduation for them last year, of course, last May. So those of us on staff took their diplomas, met with them in their parking lots, took a picture of them and put that out on social media, which it was very fun to be a part of that. We were disappointed that they couldn't have their big graduation, but that's some of the interesting things we do. But yeah, 140 apprentices. We've bought 140 Chromebooks and delivered those to them so they can do their distance learning.
Really?
Now, what's most interesting is 2 Januaries ago, I sat in our board meeting when the board said, we ought to figure out distance learning. 2 Januaries ago, COVID wasn't here in the United States yet. So what the pandemic did was forced our education department to accelerate their programming. And they've done an exceptional job of figuring out how to train students virtually and to bring them into the Schaumburg facility for the hands-on, keeping them physically distanced with masks on and so on in small groups. And very proud of how that department was able to continue on with our training that I believe we've done since 1934, if memory serves me right. And
in recent years, you've added state-of-the-art computer-controlled equipment and programming skills and for hands-on experiences, correct?
yeah, there's about $750,000 worth of equipment, machine tools in the corner of our building. We've got a Swiss turning machine in there, lathes and mills, a 5-axis Mazak. We've crammed an awful lot into that space, and we believe it's one of the few spaces that look like that outside of Germany. And it's largely because of the density of TMA members in the Chicago area that are willing to train, which is how we can afford to have that equipment. Some of it's entrusted, some of it we own. And it's an interesting business model to have that facility.
What's unique and interesting to me, and it has been for some time, that the training of the skilled person, and there is a significant influx of gals and guys in your program, it seems to me that their knowledge and experience will grow to the point where they take the bold step to go out and form a company of their own. Is that still a frequent occurrence in the industry?
I wouldn't say it's as frequent as you may have recalled in the past. We run across all sorts of apprentices who say, "Hey, I was the apprentice of the year in 1992," and that's
Really?
always exciting. I just watched the Facebook um, precision machining competition that was live yesterday, so I just watched it this morning, and they had a woman on who was she was very proud to tell us that she was the apprentice of the year. I don't remember what year it was, a few years ago, but that was exciting to see. Uh, but not as many people starting new businesses. It's more of a consolidation out there
Yes.
where our members are averaging larger employee numbers, largely because the really small guys are being absorbed,
Yes.
purchased, retiring, or whatnot.
What about insurance and retirement and 401ks and IRAs and various different programs to help the small or medium-sized company that would be a loner out there in that vast market to try to get something competitive for himself and his employees?
Yeah, that's where we really shine. If I can be selfish on 2 points. Number one, TMA, a not-for-profit, has a for-profit sub who is a health insurance brokerage. And that is my insurance broker personally. And what Jessica does in running our health solutions program is she focuses on the smaller members, gives them the attention and helps them do custom programming where other brokers out on the street don't really care about the really small companies. They're after the elephants. And then secondly, selfishly, Rothschild is our 401k partner, and that's where all of my money is, primarily because of the low fees. Once I moved my money, I personally saved $9,000, mostly
Really?
all that was in fees. And that's because of TMA's purchasing group discounting is really what it comes down to. So those of you with 401ks with programming that's 50, 60, 80, 100 basis points of fees, boy, we can really save the ownership, who tend to be the people most invested, quite a bit of money. Daniel and Henry is our business insurance partner. I've been on probably 100 sales calls with them.
Really?
So I've seen just how good they do in the finishing world, certainly the manufacturing world. But what's sad is a lot of small to medium size business owners get their business insurance from their cousin. And their cousin's not an expert in manufacturing. So they're miscategorized, they're paying too much. And it's very frustrating because we'll oftentimes enter the room and say, is the relationship with your broker personal or professional? If it's personal, we're done.
Sure.
If it's professional, we'd love to have an opportunity to provide a proposal because it can save you some money.
So in the broadest sense, it seems that the Technology and Manufacturing Association is sometimes a board of advisors. It's sometimes a benefit resource. It's also a teaching entity. It's an alternative to college as far as technical skills is concerned, and helping to grow. What do you do as far as a small company that has limited resources and the owner wears many, many hats? What about marketing? How are you, do you help the people get out there in marketing their services?
Sure. 18 years ago, when I was hired by the board of directors, they wanted to hire a marketing professional to help members one-on-one. So I've actually worked with 190 members one-on-one to help them, not just with marketing. I've grown it into helping them commercialize their business. So that means finding new customers, finding new markets, et cetera. But that knowledge that I have in working with 190 of them is why I'm passionate about knowing what they will do, what they need, what they can afford, what they shouldn't afford, and those kinds of approaches. So I actually do that face-to-face, one-on-one with them. That's what I was hired for. But we've been in a bull market for quite some time, so I haven't been working as much with them on that front.
Most of your members are manufacturing. You indicated that some of them are associate or affiliate members. What kind of members are associate or affiliate non-manufacturers?
It's about everything, but certainly we have a lot of very good bankers, CPA firms, roofers, as silly as that sounds. The people that do flooring and manufacturing have joined TMA. The list is endless. We recently signed up a broker for handling your waste. These guys know how to take your garbage and help you make money with it. All sorts of different angles out there. That's correct. A lot of consultants, a lot of folks that have some very interesting services that really allows us to have a good idea of what's out there when somebody asks a specific question.
So the word resource is yelling at me. It seems like the Technology and Manufacturing Association is a comprehensive, diversified resource for manufacturing companies.
Sure, when you've been doing it for 95 years, and I've been doing it for 18, I pretty much feel like I've been asked every question. Don't necessarily know all the answers, but we can always find the answer because we've got programs and members that we have ways to communicate to them. And of course, you're a part of that, that program.
I'm betting that many of the people listening to us have questions and would like answers and maybe things to decide on or pick from that they don't know about. How can our interested listeners get in touch with you and the Technology and Manufacturing Association?
Yeah, the best and easiest way is to make a note of my email address. And then interestingly, because of cybersecurity, you would need to put my last name in the subject line if you're sending me a first-time email, because it might get trapped in my spam, and I never want to appear to be blowing somebody off. So I go through my spam bucket twice a day religiously, and I find all sorts of good things in there. So my email address is kgladish, and that's Gladish with one D, so KGLADISH. And then we are TMA, Tom, Mary, Apple, as I like to say, and then we make you spell Illinois out. So TMA, Illinois, and we're a not-for-profit, so we are a .org. So kgladish at tmaillinois.org.
We've been talking with Kent Gladish, Vice President of the Technology and Manufacturing Association. It's an association that really helps people to grow, coming up on 100 years. We're glad that you were listening to us today and that Kent was visiting with us. We encourage you to contact him. We also encourage you to contact us on subjects, on topics, on issues, and problems that you would like us to pursue on your behalf to help you grow and to help you succeed. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.